The 3x3 starter base is the go-to for experienced small to medium-sized groups. It offers a lot of space and a lot of options for expansions into a full design. In this tutorial, we're going to go over how to maximize the space given and how to create your own variations to rotate between wipes. For a lot of players, it's difficult to get a larger starter base down, which is why I recommend you always start with a 1x1, which is only 1500 stone plus upkeep. If you manage to start with double the amount of resources, then you can go straight to a 2x1, and after this you pretty much just want to expand into the full 3x3. But before you do that, you're going to want to try to get sheet metal doors as quickly as possible so you don't get eco-rated. And obviously the goal here is to build a 3x3, so if you manage to get around 10,000 stone at the beginning of the wipe, then you're good to go straight into the entire thing. Just remember that your airlock is going to go in the center of one of the sides of the base, and then you're going to go to the back of the base, look at the door, and build two rooms like this on the left and right side. One of them is going to be a loot room, and the other is going to be a TC room. Whichever side you want to put it on is up to you. I like to put my TC on the right side, but I do change this up in between wipes, which you should also do. By placing the triangle like this, we don't have to go outside. We can easily demolish it and also get a perfect placement on our TC so that we can align our boxes in each of the rooms. And then the rest of the slots in the base are going to be double door frames. Now we got this nice hallway here, which is great for mobility, and we have enough room within this layout to fit all the deployables that we'll need. This first room to the left of our airlock is where I like to put all of my furnaces, and I'll only put 8 in here so that once you have a door on it later, it's easy to get up on top of them to reach the back ones until you can industrialize them. And also in the future, this is where I would put my electrical furnaces, and then I would use large furnaces outside to burn for charcoal. I also like to remove a furnace here when I'm setting up my industrial so that I can set my buffer box up. This is basically the box that sucks all the loot from your drop boxes before it gets sorted into your loot room. And then by having it stick through the door like this, you can just have this door closed all the time once it's industrialized and access the box through the door and use it as a drop box. The center square, we're going to have double doors on it that'll be upgraded to armored double doors in the future, and we have it like this so that we can remember to keep them closed all the time no matter what. And then the loot room on the other side of the TC, I like to put a repair bench in there and set my boxes up like this so you can have multiple players accessing multiple boxes in here without blocking each other. This is just how I like to set my boxes up. You can obviously do whatever you want. And then in the TC side, I always set it up the same in every single base. It's just 2 boxes on the bottom, 2 boxes on the top, and then a little fire pit that we're going to put a water purifier on so that we can set a water catcher up on our roof and have free water down here in the future. And then I like to add 2 more large boxes in front of the TC with a barbecue squeezed in here and a small box to store raw meat. Now that workbenches have multi-tiered access, this is the only location that you'll need to put your workbenches at, and you can just swap them out as you upgrade. And then we're going to squeeze 3 small boxes in here. You could also put a 4th small box and a fire pit over here so you can just walk up easily onto the boxes, but I would prefer to put a bag inside of here so that it's behind the door in case you get online raided, and you can still sprint up on this other box instead of having to jump on it all the time. The space in between the loot rooms is where we're going to put our bags at, and you can fit up to 8 of them in here if you keep going, but I'm only going to put 4 for now because 8 people in here is kind of crazy. In the back right corner, we're going to place our research table with a box under it, and to the left of it, we're going to have a locker. And if you've squeezed everything in here properly, you'll be able to place another locker here. And then in the center, you'll be able to squeeze a fridge in here next to the 2 lockers. So when you're getting re-kitted, you'll be able to heal up very quickly, and you can also store teas in there. And then you've got yourself a nice little re-kit station here. This area we're leaving blank. Industrial is going to go on the wall in the future. This is also a great place to AFK. And then your teammates will still have access to the loot rooms, so you won't be blocking them from anything. And then we still have that room across from our furnaces where you can put a mixing table in here. You can use this to put your battery, and a majority of your electrical components can fit on the walls in here. There's space in the hallway where you could fit a secondary mixing table if it doesn't bother you. And then don't forget you can fit boxes underneath each of these, so you have 2 extra small boxes. And then if you've got the DLC on the other side of the hallway, is a great place where you could store some tools with a weapon rack. And these are located right next to where you respawn as well, so we're using this like the fridge to free up some space in our lockers for better kits. If you don't have enough gears to get garage doors on both loot rooms, it's okay to put some double doors on there. You can still access the TC, and then we're going to put garage doors everywhere else. And if you don't have them, it's okay to just leave these open for now. Having double doors everywhere is kind of annoying. And if you plan on using door controllers, this door next to the TC loot room, keep in mind the lip has to face inward so that you'll have access to where the new door controller slot is at. And as for upgrading the base, I would recommend upgrading it in a way that it's not obvious as to like, hey, here's my TC, I've only upgraded this one side. It's only like 2 stacks of metal to upgrade this, so just wait till you can do it all at once. We're not upgrading the first third of the base. As you can see here, we're upgrading the ceiling, and then this center square is an example of how you would calculate what needs to be upgraded. It's 3 sheet sheet metal doors, which is 12 satchels, and this would only be 10 satchels, so we need to upgrade that, and the rest of it is irrelevant because if somebody raids through there, that's just furnaces and our battery. And if for some reason you would really like to have a vending machine, next to the research table, you can pop a door frame there instead, and then squeeze in a vending machine on a twig foundation as far in as you can get it, destroy the twig, and it should stay there. And if it stays there, it should also have no gaps around the edges. So you should be good to go like this if you really wanted a vending machine. And then you'll be able to put this box back down as well. You might have to pick the box up if it's in the way. And as for expanding the base, the most simple thing to do is to just build a shell. So off your airlock, you're going to build a triangle with 2 squares like this, and then 2 triangles, and on every corner, it's 1 square, and then 2 triangles, and then on the side, back to 2 squares, and so on and so forth, basically switching from 3 squares into 2 squares. And if you just remember that it's 2 squares, 2 triangles, and every corner only has 1 square, you'll never forget this pattern again. It's always great to have an oil refinery, and you can squeeze that in between the shell. And if you do that on the side with your airlock, then you can just put another door here and you'll have access to the oil refinery. And here is an example of how you can create a variation of this design. We have a furnace room over here instead of our loot room. We still have the hallway and our battery room over here with our buffer box. But now off to the side of our hallway, we have our loot room over here, and we basically just swapped the furnace and the loot room by 1 square, and this creates a whole different layout and a whole different raid path. Here's a view with the roof cut out so you can see how we've only done one thing. We just swapped it by 1 square, and it creates such a big difference. And this is something that you should do in between wipes, and also consider when building a shell, if you're doing that, that you can rotate the exit of your base so that it's not, directly out of your airlock and then straight outside. You could rotate that and also create doors inside of your shell and change that as well in between wipes so that you can confuse raiders, especially if you encounter the same people over and over again. That pretty much covers everything for taking your 3x3 to the next level. In the future, I'm going to be creating dedicated guides to electrical and industrial circuits that are useful, and that can be found in my Rust guides and tutorial playlist. But if you can't wait until those videos release, that's okay. I've done a similar video like this on the 2x2 where I also included some simple industrial and electrical circuits that are useful, especially during the beginning of a wipe. That's all I got for you guys today. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, leave a dislike if you didn't, and I'll catch you in the next one.